A man throws away 20 years with his childhood love because she can't give him children. He marries a younger woman who gets pregnant immediately. But when their perfect baby arrives, she takes one look and says the most heartless words you'll ever hear. "I don't want this thing. Put it in an orphanage." Welcome back to our channel where we share incredible stories. Today's story will take you through 20 years of friendship, love, heartbreak, and the most unexpected redemption. Please watch with respect for the cultural context and the real human emotions involved. Samir's life changed forever when he was 6 years old, sitting in first grade classroom B. That's where he met Nasra, a quiet girl with a long braid and the sweetest smile he'd ever seen. But this isn't your typical love story, because what started as an innocent childhood friendship would span decades and test the very meaning of loyalty. This was actually Samir's third school transfer because he hated attending classes and would cry every day. But something about being friends with Nasra made school bearable. They would sit together on the bus, play during recess, and share their meals. She always split whatever she brought from home so they could eat together. They studied as a team and became the top students in their class, each motivating the other to excel. As they grew older through elementary school, their friendship deepened. The worst times of their year were school breaks when they couldn't see each other. While other kids celebrated the last day of exams, Samir and Nasra would feel genuinely sad. When they turned 12 and entered different middle schools, their friendship faced its first real test. But they found a way to stay connected through handwritten letters. They would write about every detail of their day, what happened with their families, their friends, every small moment. Each knew everything about the other's life, and their letters eventually filled multiple boxes. Then something shifted when they turned 15. Samir would walk by Nasra's house, and she would appear at the window, smile at him, wave a letter, then quickly disappear before anyone could notice. He would leave his reply near the doorstep for her to collect later. This secret communication revealed feelings that had grown beyond simple friendship. When their university acceptance letters arrived, they discovered they'd both been accepted to the same institution. Samir had actually scored high enough for a better university, but he deliberately chose the same one as Nasra. Back together at university, they became inseparable once again. Everyone on campus knew about their bond and nicknamed them the Lovebirds. In their second year, Samir proposed. They planned to marry after graduation. During this time, Samir worked while studying to save for their wedding. Nasra's parents initially hesitated, considering them too young, but eventually agreed on condition that Samir have stable employment. They wanted security for their only daughter, who meant everything to them. After graduation, they married in a beautiful ceremony. Everyone was thrilled for them. Their early married life was blissful, filled with love, mutual respect, and perfect harmony. Nasra found work while Samir continued his job, making their financial situation excellent. She managed their money brilliantly, and they truly lacked nothing except one thing: a child to complete their family. After 4 years of marriage, they felt ready for parenthood. But month after month passed without pregnancy. Nasra began worrying something was wrong and consulted doctors. After extensive testing, results showed no medical issues with either of them. Multiple specialists confirmed everything was normal. It was simply a matter of divine timing. But this uncertainty began destroying Nasra's mental state. Every negative pregnancy test brought tears and disappointment. Like many couples, they faced interference from relatives offering unwanted advice about having children. While Samir remained relatively unaffected, knowing he only wanted children with Nasra, she was deeply hurt by people's comments. Many blamed her for delaying children, as if this was her choice. They would make remarks about time passing or suggest mysterious problems. The pressure drove Nasra to seek help from spiritual healers, which created major conflicts because Samir considered such practices superstitious. He insisted that prayer and patience were enough. Despite being blessed with love, financial security, and health, the absence of children began poisoning their happiness. Samir started feeling the desire for fatherhood more intensely, especially seeing friends and family with their children. Meanwhile, Nasra avoided social gatherings, particularly women's events, because she couldn't bear well-meaning comments about children. Years passed, and they gradually accepted they might never have children. But this resignation affected Nasra deeply, making her sensitive to any comment about children or family. Their conversations became strained as Samir felt he had to carefully consider every word, eventually preferring silence to avoid upsetting her. Then family members began suggesting Samir take a second wife. He initially rejected this completely, unable to imagine loving anyone else. But the constant pressure from his mother, combined with Nasra's deteriorating mental state, slowly wore down his resistance. His mother eventually approached Nasra directly without Samir's knowledge. "Nasra, you know how dear you are to my heart," his mother began. "Yes, I know, and you're as precious to me as my own mother," Nasra replied. "That's exactly why I want to talk to you as if I were your mother, for your own good and Samir's good," his mother continued. "I know that God provides everything, money, health, and children. But honestly, I'm hoping to see your children before God takes my soul." Nasra asked what she was getting at. "You know there's nothing wrong with you or Samir, and your attempts haven't stopped. But maybe it's Samir's destiny that he won't have children with you. You're approaching 40 now, and I don't think there's much hope left. But Samir, men can have children even at 80 years old. What I'm suggesting is that Samir gets married and has children, and you help raise this child together." Nasra was shocked. "You want Samir to marry someone else? Did he ask you for this?" No. Samir refused to let me talk to you about this, but there's no other solution. Think about it privately. Don't let emotions decide. I promise your status is protected. You'll remain my daughter and his precious wife." When Samir returned home, he found Nasra sitting at the kitchen table with swollen, tear-stained eyes. When he rushed to ask what was wrong, she finally spoke. "Samir, you need to get married." Samir was stunned. "Are you serious? Are you out of your mind?" She explained that his mother had spoken to her and everything she said was correct. "I know and understand, and I'm convinced. It's enough that in my youth I couldn't have children. Am I going to have them in my 40s? You don't deserve this suffering. At least one of us should be happy." After months of discussions, tears, and pressure from both women, Samir reluctantly agreed. The young woman they chose was beautiful and charming, making Samir feel youthful again. Gradually, he found himself preferring her company over Nasra's. What started as reluctant acceptance became genuine attachment to his second wife, while his relationship with Nasra grew cold despite her efforts to restore their connection. When Nasra's jealousy and hurt became apparent, Samir began using it as an excuse to leave the house rather than address their problems. After several months of this treatment, Nasra asked for divorce. She couldn't bear his neglect and coldness anymore. Shockingly, Samir agreed without argument. He didn't consider that Nasra had no family left. Her parents had died, and she was completely alone. He had forgotten that he was her entire world, yet he let her go without a fight. Soon after, his second wife became pregnant. Samir was overjoyed, finally achieving his dream of fatherhood. He cared for her extensively during pregnancy, completely forgetting about Nasra while planning his future with his son. When delivery day arrived, the entire extended family gathered at the hospital for the long-awaited birth. But the joy was short-lived. The doctor privately informed Samir that his son was born with Down syndrome. Samir felt his world collapse. His long-awaited child had special needs. When he shared this with his family, their pitying looks wounded him deeply. But when he saw his son, something beautiful happened. The child's face held such innocence and beauty that Samir loved him instantly, naming him Jamil. However, his second wife's reaction was entirely different. After her postpartum period, she returned home completely changed, nervous, uninterested in the baby, and clearly resentful. When Samir tried to understand what was wrong, they had a conversation that shattered him. "What's wrong with you? Just tell me why you're like this," he asked. "Do you need us to go out or travel? Do you want to stay with your family? Tell me what I can do." She replied coldly, "How can I go out and travel like normal people with this disabled child?" "Disabled child? What do you mean?" "This is your son," Samir responded, shocked. "Yes, it's my son, and I don't want him," she said without emotion. "What do you mean you don't want him? Is there a mother who doesn't want her son?" he asked, bewildered. "Why should I want him? This son isn't normal. I don't want this child, and I'm not prepared to waste my youth on a disabled child. If you want him, let your mother take him, and if you can't handle him, put him in an orphanage." Samir was beyond shocked. "Are you conscious? Are you speaking from your mind?" "Yes, and let me tell you, I don't want you either. I'm still young and at the beginning of my life. You're an old man," she said with devastating cruelty. "When he grows up, what will I tell him? That his mother abandoned him?" "What kind of mother are you?" Samir demanded. "If he asks about me, tell him his mother died. As if he'll understand what a mother is anyway. This crazy kid won't have any sense in his head," she replied heartlessly. Their confrontation escalated into a terrible fight before she fled to her family's home. Samir divorced her as well, leaving him alone with baby Jamil. He arranged childcare with his mother during work hours, then spent evenings and nights caring for Jamil himself. Every day reminded him of Nasra. He knew she would never have abandoned this child. Together, they would have loved and raised him unconditionally. One night, Jamil woke up crying differently than usual. When Samir saw the baby's flushed face and burning fever, panic overwhelmed him. Without thinking, he called the one person he trusted most, Nasra. "Hello, my love. I need help. Jamil, I don't know what's wrong with him," he said, his voice breaking with fear. "Jamil? Who's Jamil? What's wrong with you, Samir? Why are you crying and your voice is trembling?" she asked. My son. I don't know what to do for him. His face is red and his body is burning. Please help me," he pleaded. "Go to the hospital at the head of the street near your parents' house. I'm coming to you. Bring his things, diapers and clothes in case they need to change him. Don't rush and don't frighten the child. Wrap him well in a blanket because it's cold outside," she instructed calmly. Despite being divorced and abandoned, Nasra immediately took charge. She met them at the hospital and held Jamil while doctors treated his fever and inflammation, soothing him with gentle songs until he fell asleep in her arms. When they returned home and Nasra prepared to leave, Samir broke down completely. He grabbed her hand and begged her to stay. "This won't work. It's not right for me to stay in your house. You're a married man and our situation is over," she said gently. Samir sat down and began crying from his heart like a child, and she cried with him, asking him why he was crying. "I regret everything I did to you, the second marriage, our obsession with having children. Maybe if we had left everything to God, He would have compensated us with something better. But this is human nature. We want everything we feel we're missing and don't see what we have. This is the result. You and I separated and lost each other. What I ran after came to me, but I didn't find joy in it," he confessed through his tears. From that night forward, Nasra called daily to check on both Samir and Jamil. When Samir begged her to return and help raise Jamil together, she agreed without conditions. "I love you and understand what you went through was difficult. What's past is past. Let's forget those days and look forward," she said simply. They reunited with Jamil, bringing them together. Nasra became an extraordinary mother to him, teaching him to read and write while helping him integrate socially. Jamil became completely devoted to her, following her everywhere while she never showed anything but pure love and patience. Sometimes when Jamil became frustrated because others couldn't understand him, Nasra would guide Samir on how to communicate with his son. She understood Jamil's needs better than anyone. Samir often wished his mother could see how intelligent, well-behaved, and beloved Jamil had become. He wanted her to understand the value of what she had almost lost, just as he had learned the value of what he had nearly thrown away. Jamil became living proof that the perfection we seek is often an illusion. As he grew, Samir saw qualities in his son that surpassed many typical children. Meanwhile, his biological mother, despite her youth and beauty, had shown such selfishness that she abandoned her infant son without looking back. Through this experience, Samir learned that the person who appreciates what they have discovers they are the richest person in the world. Sometimes we must lose something precious to understand its true value. This story teaches us that real love isn't about having perfect circumstances. It's about showing up when it matters most. Nasra proved that true partnership means standing by each other through any challenge, while shallow attraction crumbles at the first sign of difficulty. What do you think about Nasra's incredible capacity for forgiveness? Could you have returned to help someone who had treated you this way? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more incredible stories that show us what really matters in life.